Hey guys, Justin here, American Mustang School. I'm with Duke, and he's been with me quite a while. So what I want to talk with you about today is 7 Hermetic Principles. Yeah, they're pretty cool. And I'll tell you a little story. I'm going to walk around with Duke. I've had him for probably about 18 years now. And he's one of those horses that's kind of grown with me. And as I take a nice deep breath with Duke there, so we're gonna walk and move together, kind of synchronize together. As I tell you this little story, Duke came to me, and if you've read my book, you probably already know this, but they were gonna shoot him with a deer rifle. And I was like, hey man, I'll take him. And I'm going to shorten this story. If you want to know the full story, read my book. But Duke was one of those that highly intelligent, acutely aware of his surroundings. And that scared people. He was of a higher vibrational frequency. And as we go through this story, this video is titled 7 Hermetic Principles and the Sacred Art of Horsemanship. When I got Duke, I knew nothing really about horsemanship, about laws of nature, about operating in them, about myself, where I fit in the world, how I was supposed to operate myself and create the existence that I have today. So it's really interesting growing with a horse. When Duke came to me, he was in a frame of mind people were of no interest. We'll just say it lightly like that. What he had been thinking and doing with humans before me was probably not anything that would be valuable to him. So I had to change his thought. I had to change his actions and then create a character. And not even knowing how to do that, man, I'll be honest, it's difficult. And it's one of those things that, looking back now, it's like, man, I had to go through that. It was a struggle. And we both were struggling at that time, mainly trying to discover ourselves and where we fit in the world. And when you can realize that you have some sort of a connection, you don't really understand it, but there's a connection. It's an attraction. It's a magnetism. I wanted to discover him. I wanted to help him find his self and the human element. Back then I didn't even know anything about anything, man. It was like green on green. It's going to equal black and blue, if you've ever heard that. You get a green horse and a green human and get them together, it's going to be what it is. Doesn't always work out to the best. I was fortunate to make it through that. So Duke and I, we've grown together. I've learned so much in the last 2 decades, and he's kind of watched me become something I wasn't. I've watched him become something he wasn't. And I attribute it to these 7 principles of Hermeticism. And we'll go through those. The first one being mentalism. What you think and do, you become, pretty much. Your thought is what you create. It starts with a thought, create it, put it into action, manifest into a reality. I wanted for him life enrichment. That's what I did want, even back then. I wanted that for myself. The second one, correspondence. Principle of correspondence. As above, as below. As within, so without. Whatever you're thinking inside, your reality is going to spill out into your reality, so to speak. What you're thinking and doing, you become. How it corresponds in all your areas of your life, your health, your wealth, your happiness, relationships, spirituality. But keeping it into the horse-human relationship, I wanted to understand him. I wanted to understand me. I wanted to know how he perceived me. You know, I perceive myself one way, and in relation to him, how did he perceive me, and how far apart were those? You know, how do we correspond to each other? And it all starts with myself, self-discovery, you know, self-study. That is the sacred art of horsemanship, self-study. This horse right here helped me discover myself, you know, qualities about myself that I could change, or energies about myself that I could change. You know, anger into gratitude, sadness into happiness. You know, and that leads me into the third principle, which is vibration. You know, we all vibrate at a different frequency. The planets, they vibrate at a different frequency. You know, as above, so below. So it's very interesting to understand in horsemanship that you can actually change the vibration. Starts with a thought. You know, again, mentalism. What we think, what we do, we become. So if I change those vibrational frequencies in my thought, nice deep breath, that changes vibrational frequency right there. You know, you take in a deep breath and you breathe it out. Your heart rate changes, frequency. Inner pathway of communication changes, your thoughts, emotions, your brain, your heart. As above, your brain, as below, your heart. Those are connecting. And then they're putting out a vibrational frequency. You know, inner, outer. As within, so without. This horse is a very sensitive horse, highly aware of his surroundings, high performer, very, very responsive. And his vibrational frequency is really, really high. And it's one of those things that we need to recognize or become aware of if we ever want to create a relationship that is life enriching for him, life enriching for us. He was considered dangerous, untrainable, and it was one of those things I had to change the vibrational frequency in myself, meaning thought, and then my actions, and then present to him so that he could change his thoughts, his actions, rethinking, re-understanding what the human really is. You know, those vibrational frequencies are very important. See, I didn't know all this back then. I kind of went through the back door, so to speak, to learn them. I learned them with a horse that does understand them, abides in them, knows them, operates very efficiently and effectively in them. But I had to learn them. So this video is to help you learn them from the front door. There are principles in this universe and that are there. There are laws that are there that we can abide in to help us create and manifest into a reality what it is we truly want, especially in a relationship with a horse. You know, and then we get to the fourth one, polarity. And what is polarity? It says it's the principle of opposites, you know, one pole to another. And they easily understand that it's light and day, hot and cold. You know, those are the same thing, just different degree. So when we're talking about polarity and horsemanship, we can understand, you know, this horse would be different from another horse. They're the same, but they're different degrees. You know, he's a high performance, very sensitive, very responsive type horse. And I have another horse that's kind of low, not responsive, not very sensitive. So on a polarity scale, on a scale of 1 to 10, we'll say, I've got to have a conversation with him at a low 1 and 2, you know, pressure, question, release, thank you. As opposed to another horse, I'd have to be at a 7, 8 to get the same results. So they're the same as far as horses, the class of what they are, but the polarities change. And then I've got to process information coming from him and understand that, you know, the correspondence between us. If all is mind, everything is mental, cause, I think it, and then I put it into practice. by doing it. It manifests into a reality. I've got to understand these principles, and they help me understand what it is we're even doing. We're trying to ascend in a conscious awareness. So it's real easy if we know the principles, know the laws, and can abide in them, to ascend efficiently and effectively, properly. And horsemanship could be looked at as a microcosm of understanding these principles, because I get to see it in real time, and they're close together, the contrasts, the polarities. See, when we can learn, this principle of polarity, we can understand, like, yeah, you're going to have days that we could call low, we're going to have days that we could call high. We can understand, which is the next one, rhythm. There's going to be a rhythm. The sun comes up, sun goes down. Moon comes up, moon goes down. That's a rhythm. The tides, they come in, the tides, they go out. It's rhythm. So in a 5-part series, Communication with a Horse, I can get into a rhythm of movement, rhythm of how many series we do. Say we do 5. It's a 5 questions, stop. 5 questions, stop. 5 questions, stop. That's a rhythm. Horses understand rhythm. They understand consistency. They understand all of these principles because they utilize them. What they think and do, they become. That's their character. What they think and do, they form habits. That's actually character. I wanted to create a character in a horse that would stand ground tied. In the early days, he'd run off. He wouldn't stand ground tied. And today, he'll stand ground tied for an amount of time. But it's his time. When he feels like it's done, he's not going to do it. He'll always do it, but the amount of time decreases over time because it doesn't make much sense to him, especially if I leave him. He's kind of like, no, let's do something. We got to do something with purpose, with meaning. Standing here ground tied on a polarity scale, he is on a opposite of a horse that's like, man, I'll stand here ground tied all day. But see, we got to understand that. We got to understand that this horse is different from another horse. I've had him for almost 2 decades. We've been ground tied a long, long time. I mean, many different times. He understands it, but it has to make sense to him. Otherwise, he's just not going to do it. And then there's this next principle, cause and effect. For every cause, there's an effect. So for every action, there's a reaction. It's really easy to see and understand cause and effect in horsemanship. I can pick up a lead rope and I can wiggle it, scale of 1 to 10, vibrational frequency with a rhythm. He can pick up on that. He has a resonance that he understands. And as we do it through law of repetition, he starts to really understand what means what. So in the rhythm, I can pick up this, or in the cause and effect, I can pick up this lead rope, apply that pressure rhythmically, and he can understand, oh, a vibrational frequency change. The rope is on the ground asking me to stand ground tied. Justin picks up the rope. I feel energy or information in a vibrational frequency change come to me, and then I can back my feet up. And I'll just demo it. So it's like if I pick up this rope, something's changed in the equation. So the variable of the rope is now in my hand changed. Now there's a vibrational frequency coming down the rope, and he responds with a backup. And we'll do it again for another backup, one more backup, and then release the pressure as a ground tie. So he understands those frequency differences. When I get on his back, same thing. Now, why is this important? Well, if you go and learn these through the back door like I didn't really have a full understanding of that. And I would come at him like I would come at another horse. And he would respond chaotically, I'll say. He would over-exaggerate or over-perform. He would respond to me correctly, but he would rear up and he would strike out whenever I would ask him to back up. But I came at him at a 25 rather than that 1. So this microcosm of understanding these principles, it's real easy to see because I could play with it. And it's close intervals. See, a cause and effect are real close, and that's the time. Cause, effect, the time in between, we get to see that in horsemanship, real close interval. And sometimes in the macro, you'll do something for a cause, but the effect is way down the road. So all in between that time, there's lots of distractions, and they can curve you off to where you don't really ever see the effect of that cause. Or sometimes there's a cause and it's really close in the macro, and then there's an effect. And you get to see that, but you just caught a glimpse. You didn't really get to play with it and practice it and really, understand it. It's a sense is one thing. You get a sense of something. I can tell you this on this video and you'll get a sense of it. But until you do it and experience it, you'll never really understand it. So when sense of something and understanding of something merge together, you get the true essence. You get the actually manifestation into a reality. You get to absorb it and live it. And that's horsemanship. And that's what I teach here at American Mustang School. So then we go into the 7th principle, which is gender and masculine, feminine. On the physical plane, of course, there's obvious sex, male, female. But on the mental, you can look at it as masculine, feminine energy, spiritual as well. But going into the mental piece, this horse is masculine. He's a doer, a performer. Cinnamon, I've already introduced you to her. She's more of a feminine energy representation, intuitive, a thinker, creator. So you can look at these energies, the 7th principle of Hermetics, and explains feminine, masculine energy and balancing those. And each of us possess those energies. And I tended to be over masculine. I wanted to force this horse to do something, submit to me through force. Well, he was masculine, and those two energies, man, collided. And he's 1,000-pound muscle. I'm not. And he would really let me know I'm not. And it was like, oh, man, I've got to pay attention. And where I thought, go hard and heavy on a horse like this, he would transmute that energy to where it was ineffective. And then he would show me that going that way was just not going to work. So then I would transmute that energy before I gave it to him into, well, when I think go heavy, I'll go soft. And that's vibrational frequency change. That's a polarity understanding, on a degree. It's the same thing. If I went real heavy with him or went real soft, that's the same thing, just different degree. So I was like, well, let me try at the strength of a 5-year-old child, see what that does. And he would respond beautifully. So it's like, wow, let me try this again, and we'll get into a rhythm of understanding. So what I want to demo with you today, and I've never done this, so I'm just playing with this to make a video for you, but also for myself. Because like I told you, when we started out, we didn't even know what we're explaining to you today as far as going through that back door and understanding these principles, these hermetic principles, these sealed principles, understanding the life that we are in. And it's all 3 planes of existence, the physical plane, the mental plane, and the spiritual plane. All these principles apply in all those planes of existence. And when I tell you Sacred Art of Horsemanship, it involves all 3 planes of existence. I learned a lot of things with him without understanding how to explain them. In other words, if I had read a bunch of self-help books and then played with them, maybe I would have a better understanding as we were learning and growing together. But I didn't. I went to him, and then all these years later, I've read a few self-help books and realized very quickly, I already know all this. I've already played with this. I've already practiced this. My horses showed me this. I showed them. I showed myself. Very interesting at that point when you can realize, oh, well, there's 7 principles that existed for thousands and thousands of years that are only passed down through mouth to ear in conversations. And if you're vibrating at a certain frequency, you're going to attract that information. When the student's ready, the master appears. That information isn't just thrown out, like I'm throwing it out. If you've came to this video, it's because you attracted this information to you. I didn't come and cram it down your throat. It was one of those things that you were attracted to it, you found it. I truly believe that. Whenever I wrote my book, I did some research, and it started me down a path of like, well, I know these things. I want to share this. I want to pass this on to people to help them, help their horses. I don't want it to die with me without putting it on paper and sharing it. So it motivated me to do research and like, how can I explain what we do to people? And then I attracted information to me. And then it enhanced my life even more, especially others, when I can share with them, this information. So I'll demonstrate some things with Duke where these 7 principles come in. And I'll try to, they all interconnect, so there's no real order, but I'll try to explain them as it's unfolding. But I can do this with my horses so much faster than I can actually explain it out. So there may have to be some stops to really explain some things, but we'll talk about this first one, mentalism. If all is mind and the universe is mental, and what we think has vibrational frequency, and what we do has vibrational frequency to manifest into a reality. You think, you do, you become. I want to present the best version of myself to my horse. Well, what does that actually mean? Well, the best version would be I'm in total alignment in my thoughts and my emotions, internal, my attitude, my actions, external, as above, so below, as within, so without. So if I'm going to, in a microcosm, play with this with my horses, and then I go out into the real world, we'll call it the real world, and play with it out there, I need to understand I've got to control what I can, which is me. Present to the world, and then observe feedback, make changes, do it again, get into a rhythm, understanding vibrational frequency, polarities, cause and effect, balancing the gender, feminine, masculine energy within myself to create the reality that I want to live, rather than be a victim of a reality I have no understanding of. So horses are the guide. They're like, hey, I'll guide you into that. I'm in control. I'm presenting, I'm observing, and then I will learn through observation, experimentation, how to apply these principles to myself, to my horse, to my relationship with him, and then carry it out away from the horse, to the world, to the universe. Present it. And it gives you a superpower. This is not a religion. There's no dogma. You don't have to believe a certain way to put these into practice. And another beautiful thing is it applies to anything. Horsemanship's where I practice it and utilize it. But I've gone scuba diving and done the same thing. I've flown an airplane and done the same thing. So it works in other areas of your life. Once you learn and embody these principles, put them into practice, you'll actually create a reality of what you want rather than what just be a victim of what comes. You'll learn how to look at things in a different lens. You'll look at things as they come as an opportunity for growth and development. The next horse, the next person, the next day, all of those are in accordance with understanding these principles. Each day is a new day. There's a beginning and an end. There's a cause and there's effect. There's a vibration. It's a really, really interesting thing when you look at this and how those correspondence take place. All right, so I'll do what I call a 5-part series, and it's a series of 5 questions that I'll ask any and every horse to get a deeper understanding of them, to get a deeper understanding of myself. They get a deeper understanding of me, they get a deeper understanding of themselves. And then we say, well, what exactly are they understanding? All these principles, the mind, thought, the action, becoming, character, correspondence between us, the vibrational frequencies, the changes in those, the polarities, the rhythm, the cause and effect, the gender, the masculine energies, feminine energy. As we play with this 5-part series, all of those are discovered, all of those are understood, and then all of those true essence become a reality. And this is what I want to show you. So Duke is a high energy type guy, so I got to consciously tell myself, I observing me, go at Duke really soft. Go at him at a 1 or a 2. So I'll ask him very soft vibrational frequency. He's acutely aware of what's happening, so he can respond accordingly. Very good. And then he's asking again, so I'll ask him to get out there a little bit more. And then relax. And then I'd like to ask him to go in a direction, so we'll go to the left, and I'll just point. If all I have to do is point, great. If I need to increase the intensity of the question or vibration, I can do that too by twirling the rope or audible kiss. Now I'll just watch him walk around in a nice circle, and he's looking to me. That's good. He's paying attention. And I'll just observe him walk. And I'll be conscious of me. What am I presenting? What am I thinking? I'm thinking calm, quiet thoughts. My shoulders are relaxing. But I see tension coming into my horse. His mouth has just gritted his teeth. His head came up high. He's looking to me for guidance. He's not sure. He's got a little confusion. So I'm just going to let him cruise for just a moment. And then we'll change his direction. I'll just reach in front of this hand. He's already noticed that. I'll just point and relax. If I point real big and go heavy, he will shoot out, just knowing him. And he'll go a lot faster than I desire. So I'll just consciously be aware of my thoughts, my emotions, so my actions, my attitude, my actions. Attitude is how am I posturing. I'll relax my shoulders, relax my hips, relax my legs. And then see, he's still looking to me for guidance. He's asking questions. I love that. I want him to. He's asking questions, so I'll give him a deliberate question. And you can see how heightenedly aware, or how heightened his awareness is. His lips are tight, so his teeth are grit. They're clenched. That's a tension in the mouth. So how do I release that? Well, I got to change the vibrational frequency. I'm going to put some pressure on this hip. I'm going to create draw. I'm going to back up and call him to me. I'm going to ground tie. I'm going to rub him to a stop. He took a deep breath and he just released the tension in his mouth. So we changed vibrational frequency. We changed the rhythm. We changed the correspondence. We changed the mind. We changed the action, the cause and the effect. The cause was draw him to me. The effect is trigger a body responsive relaxation, or balancing that masculine, that feminine. I'm going to create, through feminine energy, a desired result in my horse. Through masculine energy, balancing those. If those two aren't balanced, it's real tough to do the other principles. It's really tough to understand rhythm, polarity, correspondence, the mind, mentalism. Because we have to be balanced. We have to be stable. They have to be magnetized to that. They have to be attracted to that. Law of attraction. If I can create a release of tension in this horse's body where he takes a deep breath and his heart rate settles down, that's a vibrational frequency, his heart vibrating. If it's beating really fast, high vibration. Beating really slow, low vibration. About the middle, just right. And that's where we got to pay attention in the reflections of his body, what's going on in his mind. See, this horse would never let me touch his face in the early days. I don't know if you noticed when he came into me, he shied off of me touching his face, so I went to his neck. I just know him. And how do we learn these things? Through practice. So understanding these principles, these Hermetic principles, and I will tell you, I didn't even know these like 3 months ago. I was studying laws of nature. You can watch some of my past videos. This will be the first video on Hermetic Principles. But I realized, man, I learned these with this particular horse in the mountains of Colorado 18 years ago. I went through the back door, so to speak, and I'm trying to help you see, here's the front door. Learn these principles, come into horsemanship, practice them, or go into anything you're going to do, practice them. It's in the mind first. What do you think? What do you feel? As above, so below. Your head, your heart. They're positioned above and below. So what am I thinking? What am I feeling? Am I motivated on emotion? Are my thoughts motivated on emotion? I feel this, therefore I think that. Or do you think that, therefore I feel this? It's an awareness. And I'm not even sure there's right or wrong way to do that. If you feel something and it causes you to think something, just be aware of it so that you can have some control on what you do with that. In horsemanship, people will come in and they're fearful. So they're fearful in the emotion. So then that kind of dictates their thoughts. Or they'll think something and it causes an emotion. Well, if they don't have control of that energy passing up and down in their body, it's going to be really difficult to train a horse. It's going to be really difficult to communicate with a horse. If I'm in control of what I'm thinking and feeling, and my attitude, which is posturing, and then ultimately my action, I'm setting myself up for better success if I can do all that. If I can control that, present that, observe what he does, make changes to those things, present again. I'm in a microcosm with my horse, going through these Hermetic Principles. I understand the rhythm. I understand vibration. I understand the changes in polarity. I understand that it's in my mind first and it comes out and manifests into a reality. People say, how do you get your horses to be so calm? I practice being calm. Yeah, there's more to it, as you can understand in this video. I observe myself. I study myself. Present myself to my horse, my guide, my accountability partner, and then I course correct, make changes in myself, present again, get into the feedback loop to get desirable results. So I can get up on his back and have control of what I can control, myself. I can control these hands, I can control these legs, I can control my thoughts and my actions. It's really deep. You will not really get a deep sense of this just with this video. But all the years I've played with all the many horses and all the many people, and riding the horses and enjoying the sun, and letting the sun go down, and riding at night, and riding at the beach, and riding in the mountains, and all these different things coming in, and these experiences, and understanding that these laws, these principles, they're there, whether we realize it or not. So when you change your thought, you change your vibration. Thought is measured in vibrational frequency. When you change your thought, change it to a thought where you want to come happy, you want to come up. The emotion, you want to feel that, comes up. That's a higher vibration. Good vibes, you've heard of that. That's a real thing. Horses are attracted to that. They like it whenever you are in control of those things and you're presenting the best, true, authentic self to them. And then when you come off of that, they help you get back on. That's a guide. That's an accountability partner. I'm a life coach. So when people come through the gate and we play with horses, the horses are the ones that help them see what it is I'm explaining to you. It is a really beautiful transformation. It's so interesting to watch a person or a horse transition from where they are to where they want to be, knowing that they're the ones doing it. They are creating their reality. They're healing themselves. It's not outside. It's attracted to you, but it's you. It's inside. You go within, align those things, and you will attract whatever it is you need in this life. I focus on 5 main areas of my life, and that's health, wealth, happiness, relationships, spirituality. All 3 planes of existence. The mental plane, the physical plane, the spiritual plane. And horses are I'm not sure there's any better animal to play with to figure that out. And it's a beautiful thing. So we did 1 series. I'm going to ask him again. I'm going to ask him low vibrational frequency, ask him to back up, we'll start soft, increase the intensity of that frequency, and relax as a thank you. We could pause for a few seconds and ask him to back up again, or we could ask him to go in a direction. I'll probably ask him to go to my right since we went to the left last time. So I'll just point to the right. If all I have to do is point, there's nothing else needed to be done, and relax when he does. And then here's what we get to do. So on these series, we get to find out what changed. What do I need to change? What am I witnessing through feedback that did change? And then do we need to continue to do what we did in the last series of questions, or do we need to make the changes? And it's a real beautiful experience to witness a horse transform from nervous, high anxiety, to relaxed, confident, breathing and moving comfortably. Allow them to be their true self. And see how he keeps looking to me for guidance? He's an overachiever. He wants to perform at top peak level. And I want that too. And then we'll change directions. So I'll just reach in front, point the other direction, relax when he does. There's no need to go any higher. We could always go faster, but let's show him what we want. We want calm, quiet thinking. So I first have to think quietly. We want him to breathe. so I'll breathe. We want him to relax in the body, so I'll be relaxed in the body. We could do a couple of directions change, so I'll ask him to go the other direction. I'll just point and then relax when he does. See, we are connected with this lead rope, but I'm not depending on the lead rope. I want him to watch my body. I want to think it, see it, do it, and then observe the feedback from it. What are the results? What changes need to be made? So see how he looks? I love that. So now I'll put some pressure on the hip. I'll create draw. I'll ground tie right here. He doesn't want me to touch his face. I'll rub him to a stop. Took a deep breath. I'll take a deep breath. He relaxed the tension in his mouth. I'll relax the tension in my body. He'll release the tension in his body. We'll synchronize these energies, this information, and we can wash, rinse, repeat that. I'm not going to burn up a bunch of video with 5-part series, but I could do 5 to 7. We did 2. I could do 3 more. And the horse will drastically change. And it's because they resonate with the frequency, the vibrational frequency that you're presenting to them. There's a rhythm to it. There's harmony, which is agreement. There's balance. Balance in what? Balance in gender. Balance in the frequencies. When you can center in a vibrational frequency and they feel where center is, when you come off center, they'll help you get back on. When they come off center, you help them get back on. That's what people are talking about when they say, oh, center yourself. Center myself how? Oh, the vibrational frequency. Okay, yeah, balance myself in thought, emotion. There is a frequency in thought. Do I want to think this? Do I want to think that? What polarity are they? What vibrational frequency are they? Where do I want to polarize? Do I want to polarize in calm, quiet thinking? Or do I want to polarize in erratic, chaotic thinking? They're the same exact thing, just different degrees. Horses are the same way. They'll be thinking erratic and chaotic. Or they'll be thinking calm and quiet. How do we get them where we want to get them? How do we get them to polarize? So the rhythm, a pendulum swinging. If they're swinging calm and quiet, erratic, chaotic. Calm and quiet, erratic and chaotic. In your relationship, how do we polarize them to calm and quiet? Well, we practice it for one, because through repetition, you develop a habit. Habit becomes character. So I see these pendulums swinging in horses, and people too, but we'll talk about horses. So he's one that was really swinging wildly. So was I. When we would come in together, man, it would be chaos for 45 minutes. He'd be racing around me, and I'd be pulling and tugging, and he'd be dragging me where he wanted to go, and I'd be trying to drag him where I wanted to go. It was so not what we wanted, either one of us. So it's like, okay, we've got to effectively change. How do we do that? I want to think. I want to manifest my thoughts into a reality by doing, through action. And then I want to repeat it. And then I want to create what you see today from 18 years ago, where we can have a conversation and it's not erratic and chaotic. And if it starts to come off center, knowing the horse, I can change that, transmute that energy. He's high performance. I'm not kidding you. You probably can't really tell in the video, but when I introduce my level 5 students to a horse of this caliber, because he's not a beginner horse, he's somebody, he goes with somebody that has some experience. I mean, I do introduce him probably about the 3rd session of a student in a like a 30-hour period. We'll be at the 6th hour lesson, 2 hours each, and then he'll get introduced to a student, and then they'll start to really understand. But they've got to be at a level. So he's high performance, he's high intelligence. I want my students to come up to him, not him come down to them. I don't even want him to come down to me. I want to come up to him. How do I do that? Understanding these Hermetic principles allowed me to move further, faster, more efficient, more effective. I learned them with him, but now I'm learning how to explain them to you. In just the last 3 months, I learned to prioritize these 7 principles, learned them, and then realized, wow, that's what I did. That's how I did it. Now I can explain it to somebody else to come through the front door so that they're better prepared to present themselves to their horse, because it starts here in the mind, in the body, inward, present outward, observe the feedback, make the necessary changes, do it again, get in a rhythm of communicating with your horse. So we've done 5-part series on the ground. And I will say, in numerology, the number 5, transformation. When I wrote my book, I started seeing this pattern form. All these 5s, 5-part series, 5 obstacles, 5 levels of horsemanship, a lot of 5s. And then I found out my life path was 5. It's like, wow, that makes so much sense. You know, jack of all trades, master of none. I love to play with a little bit of everything and learn it and do it. You know, that's why I built a house and did every aspect of building the house, the foundation to the roof, the electrical, the plumbing, all of those things. And these, if I had known these principles when building the house, it might have gone smoother and easier, because those principles are there, cause and effect. In building a house, it's all in the mind. The correspondence, the vibrational, the polarity, the gender. It's so amazing when you can know these and then look back on your life and then look at your life and then look forward in what you want your life to be. You actually have control of what you have control of. It is a beautiful experience. So I handed my will over to a horse so that he could help me learn to control my will. That's a 1,000-pound animal. I learned, I'll call it through the back door. But see, you can hand your will over to the universe and realize, oh wow, I can learn how to control my will with the principles that exist here that are unseen, that everyone has access to until they don't have access to, until they align to attract them. I should say, you're not going to even understand this. These are just words. This is just a video. This is just horses. You have to bring it in and go implement it into your life. You know, it's a sense and understanding. When they merge together, you get the true essence of life manifest into a reality. So what I want to do is transfer from the ground to his back. So we do 5-part series. You know, grooming for mindset's level 1. I already did that. I groomed him. We were thinking together, breathing together, moving together. I've presented things to him. I haven't played with this horse in a few months. So it's like, yeah, let's play with Duke and let's make a video. And here we are. I want to transfer this halter off and into a bitless bridle. I don't ride Duke in a bridle with a bit. I don't want to ever hurt him. And I didn't want my students to hurt him. And change the whole concepts and fundamentals of what we're trying to build in the relationship. You know, vibrational frequency change in a metal bit in his mouth is way more intense than just a bitless bridle on his face. And there's a lot more margin of error when you can utilize equipment that doesn't force a horse into submission or hurt them on accident. So I'm going to bring his face forward. That way you guys can see. I just want to line that up on his nose where it's not in a bind, and then adjust it accordingly so it fits him better. And then we're going to take this halter off. And not to waste video, I always tie these onto my horses in case I need it if we were out on the trail, but we're just going to make a little video here, so I won't need this. You know what? I don't want him to run over it, so I'll tie it on just so we don't step in it. But how you move around your horse, they're paying attention to it. So how you're thinking and moving is a vibrational frequency. It's a cause. There is going to be an effect from it. When you understand these principles, you can actually implement them into your relationship to where what you're doing, you know, in cause and effect, polarity, vibrational frequency changes, you're consciously aware of them coming from you to them. And if you're not, they're going to do something subtle or obvious to bring it into your awareness. Because if there's anything I could say in this video that's really, really important, these principles, these laws, they exist, whether we're aware of them or not. These horses abide in them in the wild. They know them, they learn them, they're passed on to the generation. Just like humans pass information on, within their families and their communities. It's valuable information, and it's passed from lip to ear, generation. That knowledge, that wisdom, is used in efficient life, living a life efficiently and effective. You know, it's a game. It's a game of life. We're going to learn how to benefit, learn how to not get hurt. These guys, they're the best accountability partner in helping us understand these. So my son rode this horse a long, long time growing up. My son's 28 years old. He would ride Duke the majority of the time that we've had Duke. And he did not mind if Duke walked off when he mounted up. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. If you don't mind, it don't matter type thing. However, I do. So I had to change Duke's mind on, when I go to mount up, him wanting to just walk off. For all those years, they created a habit that became his character. And it was just a normal thing for them. You know, young kid comes, bounce, go, boom, they're off. And it's not that big a deal, right? But then I invite Duke into the relationship with me, and I prefer stand so I can mount. And then especially with students, I don't want him to just cruise off when the students are trying to mount up. But here's why I picked Duke for these principles, because he's so responsive in explaining vibrational frequency change, gaining a conscious awareness of ourself and presenting to a horse of this caliber. You know, highly intelligent, highly responsible, almost an overachiever in wanting to perform. Very little from me, a lot from him. And I love that about this horse. He walks out. You don't have to pedal him. He responds to light pressures. You're not fatigued at the end of the day. He's energetic, so we can climb mountains. We can cover 20 miles of distance, and he's still ready to go on the 21st mile. Those are just beautiful attributes for a magnificent animal of this caliber. However, I've got to understand these principles, this correspondence, as within, so without. You know, what is he thinking? What is he feeling? What is his attitude? What are his actions? How is he posturing to let me know what action's probably going to come? So I'm going to ask him the typical lateral flexion. You know, before I mount up, I'll just ask him with a rein, and I can see that he's a little restricted. So I'll just ask him, not so deep. In other words, we can get deeper, but I'll ask him softness and just maybe a quarter movement rather than a full movement. And then we'll go on the other side and we'll ask again, same way. So if I just pick up light rein, okay, a lot less restrictive on the right hand side. Note to self, very soft right, little sticky left. And then I'll ask again on the left. Nice soft, yeah, he feels that rein. There's no reason to go real heavy. Yep, good job, Duke. So he gave, we'll say, a 3/4 lateral flexion. And what does that indicate to me? He's not bracing and rigid, so that's a very plus. That's a plus. It's more inviting to get on his back when he's not bracing and rigid. So those are the things that I'll do. So I'll do another left lateral. Yes, good job. And then I'll go ahead and put a toe in the stirrup. And you can see how his head came up. And if I go to get on, and I could come back down, very good, Duke. Let me just do a lateral to let him know. Good job. Relax his body. Boom. So remember when I said I can do these things a lot faster and I can explain them? What I was kind of anticipating him to do was to walk off. And then I could have shown you what to do. You can come back down, start over, do some laterals. If you go ahead and get on, and then he walks off, I'm going to show you what to do. And it's, you think it, see it, do it. In other words, how can I explain this? I want him to stand still, lateral flexion, mount up, wait for me to ask him to go. I know this horse character is generally, you know, they'll make a liar out of you sometimes, but 9 times out of 10, he's going to walk off. I was actually pleased that he didn't. Had he done what he normally does, I'd still be pleased, because it's not going to change my emotion or my thoughts, other than the stability of those, no matter what he does. And that's where you know you're kind of mastering yourself. It's like, okay, I'm going to watch what unfolds as it unfolds. It's a good deep breath. We want to synchronize with our horses. Take a deep breath. I'm going to ask this horse questions that I know he knows the answers to. If he does something undesirable, we'll call it, it's not going to affect my centeredness in my thoughts, my centeredness in my emotions, my attitude, my action. I'm going to stay in rhythm. I'm going to stay in flow, harmony, agreement, balance, masculine, feminine. I'm going to ask him what it is I expect of him, the best of my ability. And obviously I did that because he did what I really wanted him to do. Had he done what he normally does, I would have shown you how to transmute energy in him to get the desirable results. So we'll try it again. I'm going to just go ahead and do a left lateral, nice and soft. Yep, good job. And then I'll put a toe in the stirrup. I'm going to come ahead and sit in the seat. And if he were to take off, I would have just asked him another lateral to stop the feet. So he did walk off on his own. So I'll ask him this right lateral, stop the feet, good. And then I'll just relax my shoulders, hips, and legs, and just wait. See, he's ready. He's willing. He's ready to go. If I were to give him any leg pressure, he'd probably scoot out there pretty quick. So he went on his own. I'm going to bring him right back just so you guys can see. I'm just do a right lateral. Hold that pressure. Relax. Relax my shoulders. Relax my body, my legs. Good job, Duke. Now, see, I make any movement. He's like, ready, willing, and available, Dad. I'm ready. So I'll tip his nose to the left, and I'll just apply a right calf muscle barely. And you can see how he walks out. We're just going to do a circle right here, just like now he took off in a trot. I'm just going to take him into a stop. Release that. Deep breath. Relax the shoulders, hips, and legs. And you can see how he's anticipating, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Well, my thoughts are calm and quiet. My actions are going to be calm and quiet. And I'm going to pick up on a rein and tip the nose to the right and a left leg. And we'll go this other direction. And we'll just do a circle. You can see how he gains speed on me. So I'll just bring him into the center, stop the feet, hold the face, relax. Relax my body, my hips, my legs. And then we'll do it again. I'll tip the nose to the right and a left calf muscle. And we'll just like in the 5-part series, we can do series under saddle. And I can ask him the same questions like if I was in the center there. And I'll ask him to come to the center. Relax. He just took a deep breath. Tension in the mouth release. And relax. And I apply these principles that I'm talking about. Hermetic principles. They're sealed principles. That's what Hermetic means. They're not just out there for anybody to know. So if you've come and watched this video, you're attracted here to learn something that's just not readily known and understood. I never knew these till a few months ago. And I got to go learn them in the mountains of Colorado with this very horse right here that you see. And I've come to the understanding that when we can control ourselves, our thoughts, emotions, our attitude, our action, and we get a microcosm to practice it in with horses, I can take what I learn into the macro, the real world, the universe, and I can attract what it is I need in all 5 areas of my life. I can show other people how to do it too. I can't do it for them. I can't do their push-ups for them. But I can show them, look, if you can control what you can control, your thoughts, your emotions, your attitude, your action, and you're consciously aware of throughout the day, you can manifest whatever it is you want into a reality. This horse was labeled dangerous, untrainable. They were going to shoot him the next day. I got him, and we grew together through all these years. I haven't even invested enough time on this horse's back as I'd like. But I was there with him, with other people riding him, with my son riding him. I taught this horse how to drive and pull a carriage. That was a lot of fun. We did that all those years ago. Because he really didn't like to be ridden. But I wanted to include him in what we were doing. And he loved pulling a cart, pulling a wagon. He loved it. So we did what he loved for a good amount of time. And then he kind of transitioned into accepting being ridden. And it's one of the most phenomenal experiences that I've ever got to do in this life, is to watch this horse transition into the horse you're seeing right here today, from a chaotic, incoherent, very reactive horse with people. Without people, he was fine. He would self-regulate and be just fine. But getting in with people, it was not. The polarities were way far apart. So I'm going to ask him to do another. We'll do another circle. So we'll just tip the nose to the right and a left calf muscle, and I'm applying that calf muscle. And then he's responding. And see, we could do 5 to 7 of these series, and we could get into a rhythm. So he broke rhythm. I'll just ask him get back in rhythm, and we'll go ahead and go again. Back out on the circle. So anytime he changes the vibrational frequency, which is going into a trot without me asking him, I'll redirect energy or transmute that energy into what my desires were, and then we'll both reach an agreement or a harmony. And he's like, oh, you just wanted me to walk? Yeah, that's all I wanted, just to walk. You don't have to race. We're not getting in a race. If we were to race, you'd win. And then I can bring him back to the center and do a 1 rein stop. So he's got a little bracy against that right rein. I'll just hold the pressure till he gives to it. Take a deep breath. Relax my shoulders, my hips, my legs. And we can actually wait for him to give a deep breath. Relax the tension in his body. Then we synchronize these energies, these vibrational frequencies that are transitioning to and from each other. My thoughts, his thoughts. My emotions, his emotions. My attitude, his attitude. My actions, his actions. And then we synchronize to where we get the desirable results, and then we have life enrichment for both of us. Because we got to communicate. We got to be our true self. He got to tell me what he needs. I got to tell him what I need. We transfer information back and forth. So you saw how I lifted my hand and he responded to that. Does that mean something, Dad? No, it doesn't mean anything. But this does. So I pick up a left rein and then a right leg. And then we go in this direction. And I want to try to stay in the frame, Duke. So let's get back on our little circle here, imaginary line. And then he takes a trot, goes into a trot. I'll just redirect that energy a little bit, left rein. And he keeps trotting. If I didn't want him to trot, I'll just bring him into a 1 rein stop. Take a deep breath, relax my shoulders, hips, and legs. And I will admit, I'm a little cold again today. I am a cold-natured. He took a deep breath, I'll take a deep breath, let our energy synchronize up. I am cold-natured, so I'm stiff. He knows that, he feels it. And we just play through that. So I'll ask him to go on the circle again. And we'll just do a left circle and see, he's high energy. He's like, Dad, you're a little stiff. You're kind of driving me forward a little bit. Well, maybe I am. So let's just play through this. I'll try to relax my body a little bit more. Apply that left leg. There we go. Or right leg, sorry. Left rein. And then we'll bring it right in here to the center. Oh, give to that, baby. Give to it. There it is. And then release. And then he's like, oh, I'm ready to go again. I wasn't, so I'll let him walk out or I can get back into the frame. And we'll just repeat the very same thing. And I'll hold that face till the feet stop moving, gives to the pressure. So remember, this left side was a little sticky in the beginning. And he may be not as flexible on that side. So I have to consciously be aware, like, okay, maybe not ask him to go so deep on the next time we do a 1 rein stop to stop. But we're getting into a rhythm. So we can have a stopping point, allow the processes to catch up. I can look at the highlights of what we just did. I can assess myself. Was I too heavy on the hands? Was I too heavy on the legs? Was the timing off? Was the rhythm off? What can I do to make changes to be more deliberate in communication to where he understands? These principles, these Hermetic principles, they come into play. So was my masculine energy too high? Do I need to throttle that back? More feminine energy? Like, let's create something here that doesn't exist. Let me think in a visionary mind or imagination. Let me pull off of that information. Where does it come from? The collective. It's available. How do I access it? Oh, I know these principles. I'll change my vibration. I'll change my thoughts. I'll change my emotion. I'll change my attitude. Change my actions. Oh, wow. I got to see real results instantly from doing that in my own horse. that I care so much about, okay, there's something to this. How do we continue to grow and develop this relationship of understanding where I want to enrich your life, I want to enrich my life, and we both get life enrichment? Yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep going down this trail. So if you can concentrate long enough on yourself, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what's your attitude, how's your posture? Are you sitting up here on your horse slouched, or are you sitting up here, in a posture that's ready, willing, and available to present the best version of yourself to the horse? In the micro, are you in that way in life? Are you posture, is your attitude in life, your posture in life? My shoulders are up, my head's up, my chin's up, I'm ready to go. Let's go on an adventure in life. Let's learn this. Then your actions, what are they? And these are the things that I concentrate every day in anything and everything that I do. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Nice big deep breath from my horse, so I'll take that too. So making a video, I get a tendency to get a little talking, get a little excited. Short and shallow breath, tension in the body. My horse was probably feeling that, so he took a deep breath, which triggered a thought in me based on our character, based on our habits, based on our repetition of being together, understanding what that really means. Why is it important to breathe? It'll change your whole outlook on yourself, your life. It'll change your ability to transmute energies that come from an outside influence. You'll look at something different when you understand these principles. Life's not happening to you, it's happening for you. Anything that happens in our relationship, it's for us to learn and grow and develop into something that we're not. We're going to achieve such a higher level of competency on how to manage ourselves in this life, to where we attract what it is we want. The only way you attract something is you got to become that something. Like attracts like. If I want kindness, I got to become kindness, and I'll attract kindness. If I want wealth, same thing. If I want health, same thing. If I want a relationship with another human, same thing. Spirituality, same thing. You may not even know what spirituality is, and it's probably difficult to describe. I describe it for myself as it's a path unseen, but when I get on the path, it becomes clear. And man, is it beautiful. There is a spiritual element. Horsemanship, life, and whenever you can tap into it, you attract information to you that you otherwise wouldn't have been able to. That's spiritual. Where does it come from? Can't see it. How does the thought come in? Can't see it. Did the horse project a thought to me? Maybe. I would never argue with somebody that says, oh yeah, my horse and I communicate. There's animal communicators. They'll say, yeah, we communicate. He tells me this, that, and the other. I would never argue that, because I get thoughts that come from somewhere. And if it's like this horse is thinking in a certain way, and then I start thinking in a certain way, and it synchronizes in thought, mind to mind, and then the reality on the physical plane manifests into exactly what I wanted, feels right, it is right. Yeah, man, that's a beautiful thing. So why would that not come to a person? Their heart is closed, heart's not open, seed of authenticity is not there, they're not their true self. They're living in accordance with outside influences that dictates what they think and feel. Well, that's in the reverse. How about think and feel and manifest what you want and create the life you want? Same thing. It's a polarity. They're both the same thing. What degree do you want? Choose it. It's a beautiful life whenever you can live in the cause rather than the effect. It's like I want to learn cause and effect and seated on the back of this horse. It's very easy to learn because the cause and effects are so close together. And then the cause and the effect can be really far apart. When I first got him, the cause was to learn something with him. 18 years later, here's the effect. I get to share the information I learned with you. That's pretty cool. But see, that cause and effect are 18 years apart. I could have got distracted all the way through there. Many times I did. I'll just say there's lots of distractions in there. I have to build a home. I have to, build a bank accounts, and all these things. They're distractions. Like the outside influence of my other horses calling to us. All those things are going to come, but the cause and effect of making this video. Cause, make the video. The effect, share the information. Outside influence, horses neighing at us, him neighing at them. Could distract us from what we're trying to do. How do we bring it back to center? We control the things we can control. I couldn't control those horses calling out to us. I can control what I think about those horses calling out to us. I can control the thought, the emotion on that. I can stabilize it, center it, go right back into doing what we're doing. Consciously aware of myself, what I'm presenting to my horse, regardless of outside influences. Microcosm. We go into the macro, I can do the same thing. If I was riding him at the beach or riding him at the town, doesn't matter. Real world focused riding, control what I can. Me. Present to my horse, him. Observe feedback from him. Assess the information. Process the information. Make necessary changes. Do it again. Get into a rhythm. Feedback loop. Understand vibrational frequencies. Cause and effect. Gender. Masculine, feminine energy. It's all in the mind. It's all thought. It's all mental. Correspondence. As above, so below. As above, I'm above my horse right now. So below, my horse is below me. As above, so below. As below, so above. This is how it works. That correspondence, when you and your horse, this is where it all comes in. This is where it all interconnects, interweaves, and ties together to give you a reality on all three planes: mental, physical, spiritual. I've life coached thousands of people inadvertently, and I didn't even know what I'm explaining you today in the way to explain it. I lived it, I felt it, I went through the back door, so to speak. But this is what you get right here, right now. You get an opportunity to look at these 7 Hermetic Principles, apply them to your life today, and start to see how they work, how you can manifest what it is you think into a reality. So yeah, hopefully this video brought you something really cool. I'm just gonna ask him to cruise around here for a second. He loves to go, and I love to go. So we're a dynamic duo when it's covering some ground, scouting some trails, checking stuff out. Because he's not a slouch, man. He does not want to stand around and talk on a video. And I love that about him. And I really do. It's one of those things. We're both high energy people. He's a horse. We're both high energy individuals, and we like to go. And man, if I can ride this horse 10, 12 miles and I don't even have to be fatigued when we're done, because it's just baby inputs, man. I can ride him like I'm a 5-year-old, strength of a 5-year-old. And he just performs so nice. It is awesome. So I'm going to ask him to 1 rein stop, and then I'll go ahead and get down. And thank you for the ride, Duke. You're such an awesome, he's just a high energy guy. I love that about him. He's another, somebody said it, a little back pocket horse. He wants to go where I go. I love him. He loves me. He's watched me grow and develop into what you see today. And just know that whatever you are right now, it's what you've been thinking and doing up until this very point. So you can actually change what you're thinking and doing to become whatever it is you want. And that is a beautiful opportunity to learn and to implement into your life. Embody these 7 Hermetic Principles. Become something you want to become. If it's the keys to the kingdom, man, these are them. I'm standing, as sure as I'm standing here in this beautiful sunlight. Oh my gosh, this is a glorious day. What a wonderful day. It's cold. I like it warmer, but I appreciate it cold. I'm with a beautiful horse. He really cares. He cares about me. He really does. And he's taken care of me a long time. But he abides in these principles. Big, deep breath. We love that. And he showed me these principles. And I was just very fortunate to get to learn them and practice them and implement them and embody them into my life to create the life that I have today. And all the beautiful experiences I've got to go through. But just in the past few months, some of you have been following my videos. I've been leaning into to doing this video, but I wanted it to be right. I wanted it to be the right time. I wanted it to be the best delivery possible. And I feel good about that right now. I think, yeah, this worked out just the way it was supposed to, didn't it, Duke? It worked out just like it was supposed to. So I'm going to dive in some more of this as we go on, because I truly want to deliver the best information for you to have intrinsic, value, to where you can, manifest it into something tangible, very rewarding for you. And horsemanship is where I learned it. You're probably here because of horses. That's where you could learn it, you could implement it, you could practice it. Yeah, there's techniques. They're going to be unique to you and your horse. I teach a certain way, the way that I've found to be most efficient and effective, and it works. I have other people that come and it works for them, and it's always a learning experience, and I don't know it all. I want to learn more. There's more horses, there's more people, there's more information. But these 7 Hermetic Principles, they don't change. And they cross over into everything. Probably repeated quite a few things over and over, but that's the law of repetition. Sometimes things got to be said more than once to really understand them. Bye-bye.